Hey everyone, welcome to Bartender Kitchen. And this morning I'm doing this video. It's also part of my Kids in the Kitchen World Tour cooking class. So this is for them and for you. We are in the country of Mexico, so we're going to be doing some tortillas. What you're going to need is some corn flour. Now this is not your typical American corn flour. You want to get the one that looks like this. You can find it in like the international section of your stores. There's a lot of stores around our area do carry it. So it's masa, and it has more than just cornmeal. That's what makes it different. It also has lime. So that's where you get the authentic tasting tortillas. You can also do flour tortillas if you'd like. Most of those usually have oil in them in the recipe. The one I found for the corn flour does not have that. And corn flour is gluten-free, so if you have any of those sensitivities, you will be fine. And then you need some sea salt and water. That's it, 3 simple ingredients. So we're going to start with our sea salt. All right, and sea salt is a bit stronger than regular iodized white, your regular salt. So 1/8 of a teaspoon in there, and we're just going to give it a little stir. You want to use either a wooden spoon or a silicone spoon. All right. And growing up, I remember everybody always used plastic bowls to make their tortilla dough in matzo. But you can use glass or plastic. And then we have a skillet here, cast iron. It's already getting hot. You really want a very hot non-stick type of skillet. A griddle is great, and if you have a stovetop that has the flat section, that's a griddle. Those are perfect to make tortillas on. All right, and then I said we have your warm hot water. You may need a bit more because it can depend on a lot of things. It could depend on your weather outside, the humidity, to how well it mixes up. All right. Can anybody tell me, like, what meals do you think Mexicans use tortillas at? Is there any specific meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, that you think they use it for? Well, they use it for all of them. So you'll usually see tortillas at every meal, even for snacking. I remember growing up, that was a very good snack. I grew up in a large, you can turn that down to 1. We're getting a lot of smoke there. In California, it was a heavy populated Mexican area, so most of my friends were Mexican. And so you could have tortillas. You would just warm them up right on your stove top and put some butter on it. And it'd be really good. All right, as a snack. So think of, maybe you go to your grandparents' or great-grandparents' house, and with their dinners, they have bread, right? Just bread. That used to be a really popular thing to do. Let me take this off. You don't see it as much anymore, but there was usually bread always at your dinner or supper. And so tortillas is kind of like that same thing. So it's there. You think of tortillas maybe just for tacos or burritos, but they use it to scoop the food to eat, to get like the last of the sauces off your plate, that type of thing. All right, so you want to do it until it all comes together. And actually, it looks like it could have used a bit more water. Now, on the package here of the masa, it tells you how much to measure for how many tortillas you want to make. So normally, most recipes will tell you 2 cups. Well, that's going to make a lot of tortillas. So if you're not looking to make a whole bunch, or you just want to try it out, you might want to go with 1 cup, which is what we have here today. And this should make about 8. Get these little bits in here. which may require a little more water. All right, so that was warm water. I just heated it in the microwave before I put it in, and it was two-thirds of a cup. All right, so you want to make it into a ball. Now you're going to divide it into smaller balls. For the sake of the video, we're not going to let it rest. You should let it rest for about 10 minutes. We're going to put some more corn flour on our surface here so that it don't stick. And you're just going to knead it a little bit. You don't need to do it too much. And then we're going to, like I said, make it into smaller balls, which will roll out to your individual tortillas. If you have a 2-ounce scoop, a medium scoop, that works perfect to get about the size that we're looking for. Scoop it out, and then you can roll it. And like I said, according to what the bag said, this should make 8. All right. Now, sometimes you might think, well, tortillas are going to be very large. Like, you know, those are wraps, and tortillas that are burrito size, that's more just of an American thing. If you're in Mexico, even the tacos usually, for the most part, are smaller than what you think of, and because they're just for meat, and then cabbage and maybe your salsa. That's all. There is no cheese, sorry. So if you're looking for cheese, there is not typically cheese. And something that's a little funny is a section of Mexico I used to go to every year. There would be, it was a mission trip, and so there were people would come in from all over across the United States to go on this trip, and they would go out to the villages and run vacation Bible school for the kids because it would be their spring break. And there was a taco stand near where we camped, and everybody went to this one because we knew it was safe. You know, no one would be getting sick from the tacos there. But they would put out the salsa, and you got the chunky, you got the green, you got, you know, what's supposed to be hot. As I said, supposed to be hot because that's what they would put out when they would see all these Americans coming. The salsa for the nationals, the locals, they would put away. So what you were getting really wasn't as hot as what the locals ate. So we did get 8, and we have this little one kind of left over. So you can use a tortilla press. What it is, it's a thing that's weighted on the top. You press it down, clamp it shut, it spreads out your dough into your nice round nest that you want. I don't have one of those, so you may not either. So what works great is you can use parchment paper. You can also use plastic wrap, and you stick it in between. You can press it down a little bit with your hand before you roll it. You can use a full-size rolling pin, but one of these this type works exceptionally well, and it is a lot easier to handle, especially for kids. You just kind of want to go from the center out in all directions so you can get more of a circle. This one isn't very circular, but you get the idea. And you kind of want it thin so that, you know, it's the right, it's tortilla-like. All right, we got a shamrock. So we put some green food coloring. Look, see, it has a stem there. And you know. All right, so our pan is nice and hot. There is some oil that I added ahead of time. And then we're just going to put this in. And while that starts to cook, you can start rolling your next one. They don't take very long. And you can flip it with a spatula. Like I said, the pan is very hot. If you're an adult making this, you could even use your fingers to move it over. All of the Mexican dogs around, the moms. They're bigger to flip it over. There's none of this spatula. All right. So these are typically made daily in a Mexican home. Like I said, it's kind of like their bread in a way to go with their meals. So you can check it. It shouldn't take very long because your pan is pretty hot. Now it's not going to bubble up and have those brown like circles, because that's more with the flour tortillas. All right, that's not going to happen with your corn tortillas. So once it's done, you can take it out and put it on a plate. Some people, if you're doing like the 2 cups and you're making the 16, you would want to put things in between. Some parchment paper would work great, so they don't stick to each other while they're cooling. So how could you use these? Now, if it was a better circle shape, which you would get if you had the press, or maybe even a bit more water in. You could use it for tacos. You could use it, you could fry it after it's cooked, or bake it. Make nachos with that. You can make quesadillas, sorts of things. Tostadas, if you know what those are. So, but it's flat. All right, it's not going to be folded. And it would have like a layer of beans and then your salad fixings. So the oil that was in the pan, you can see it kind of browned the edges there. So that's not, that's not because it's cooked. That's just from the oil that was in there. All right, so what would you make with your tortillas? Let's see, this is not coming up well there. What would you make? You can tell us in the comments. Oh, it broke. All right. So that is tortillas. They're used practically all day long in a Mexican household. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.